your podcast app. You'll see there's a discourse happening. Is this book a masterpiece or problematic? One's a lifelong diehard fan, the other's a first-time reader. Both are really smart and funny and attractive. Sweet feather, sweet feather, talking twins and hierarchy. Sweet feather, sweet feather, relentless focus on their body. Sweet feather, sweet feather, what do they mean by all American? Sweet feather, sweet feather, no sex, just titillation.
You want to talk about the book?
I love this book.
You love this book?
I love this book.
That makes me happy.
Do you want to talk about this book?
Like,
Okay.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I have whatever, like, but I love that you love it because I feel like I need that and like we need that. And
Yeah,
like,
we definitely
I'm grateful for that because
Yeah.
like it's been, and shout out to anyone who's been listening. The past few books, if you're out there and if a tree falls,
Yeah.
you know, but literally like you are heroes
Mm-hmm.
and we're all heroes because the past few books have been
Roof.
but
Roof.
next we have Kidnapped by the Cult.
I know.
But I'm happy that you loved Rosa's Lie.
This was one that I read the book 2 nights ago and was like, well, I'll just start it and then I can kind of do the gaps when I do the gaps and kind of fill in when I fill in. Unputdownable. It feels like a return to like a single digit book or maybe a top 20 book, but with a modern sensibility in terms of race, class, etc.
Okay, great.
Because
I'm glad to hear that.
In some ways, it is not a blender, but a rehashing of books we've seen previously. But it spoke straight to me as a young Mexican-American woman kind of finding my way in the world.
Chicana is the word we prefer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you actually read the book, but we love to be sort of like respecting the kind of labels and names that people are choosing to identify themselves.
Huh. Okay. Thank you for, I guess, calling me in.
I'm curious. So, and maybe this is an opportunity for a 6-word review, but I'm curious, like, if you could sum it up, what did you love about it? If there's one thing, like, what about this connected for you? And besides being a Mexican girl?
Yeah. Part of it was, I think it did a really great job, say it with me, developmentally appropriate. Just like the reckoning with ethno-racial identity in the United States at this like adolescent juncture. It just felt really accurate and interesting. And like, it didn't feel like one of those books where it's like super convoluted, super chemistry testy. It felt like, for the most part, it's like, oh yeah, no, I could see why the people in this book are making these choices as 16-year-olds. And by the end of the book, the choices they make as 16-year-olds, I like. And that's my 6-word review. What do you like?
And I love that. And the only thing I'm going to gently say to you about it is that imagine you're a 6-word review and you're a circle. Just kidding.
Okay.
It's okay to have a long one. It's just
That
not
wasn't-
okay to. Oh, it's not actually it.
No, that wasn't actually my 6-word review.
Robert, I'm taking you at your word.
I know, but sometimes my words are kind of winking. A wry smile.
So do you have one?
Do I have one? Do you have one?
Okay, I have one.
Okay.
It's 5 words.
Hmm.
Lila needs to come correct.
Now, Lila needs to come correct.
Yeah,
Do you mean she's coming in correctly?
correct.
Are
Like-
you correcting me, or are you saying I'm correct? Or are you correcting her?
she's so racist.
Oh, yeah.
And not to state the fucking obvious, but it's just like there's been a lot of books where like a lot of people have been turning the other way and kind of like pretending not to hear some stuff she says and letting her get away with some real bullshit. In this book, it's just so bad. And sometimes people call her out on it, sort of, but it's like way too gentle. There's some things about this book that are very nuanced. And it is kind of nice that, spoiler alert, Rosa does the thing at the end of like, once they've accepted her, she decides like she doesn't need acceptance in that group, etc. And that's I think, a really nice moment. And I think what we're really, really hoping is, okay, well, these PBA girls are really going to have to reckon with examining the conditions that created a situation where this girl felt like she couldn't be in their group because she's Mexican.
Right.
And like it's kind of nice that they all hug her at the end and they're like, we respect you, don't want to be in the group. Like, I hope we can still be friends, whatever. And they're all like supporting her. And I'm like, great. And I'm like, what's the next conversation going to be? Because that's like...
Yeah. I mean, I think the next conversation is just going to be sleepovers, tennis matches, giggling fun. Because at the end of the day...
What's the next dance?
You have to remember, Rose is rich. And that is the most important thing. The most important thing you can be is white and a perfect size 6. But being rich...
Size 6 is the second most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly tied with rich.
I'm not willing to debate that. But being rich is so important. And Rosa has that. And that's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that plus her passing...
Mm-hmm.
is like what enables her to be made acceptable to them.
Well, excuse me. And she's hot. Thank you.
Yeah.
She's really, really hot. And that's
the
important.
whole thing is so... Can I say how I felt about this book? There's things I liked about it, but the way like some of the dynamics feel so random and like not motivated. For example, one of those is the fact that like everyone's so fucking obsessed with this girl. Every single girl and every single guy is on top of her like X on Y. Like, I don't know. And it's like, yeah, she seems basically cool. But the fact that Jessica was running to her, what is her qualities? What is her personality? I don't have too much a sense of it. And the fact that it's like from... Don't get angry with me. Just for the listeners, Robert has literally like ran and got one of these baseball bats that has spikes. It's covered in these spikes. And that makes me say, like, why would you need that?
Well,
like, why are you showing it to me?
But it doesn't make you look in the mirror and say, like, what am I doing to them that makes them need it? That's what's weird to me.
You're so right.
Like, let's start with the man in the mirror. To quote an unproblematic king, Michael Jackson.
Unproblematic King Michael Jackson is so funny. You're funny.
You're funny. Now go back to telling me why I should love this book.
If we, not to like be overly whatever, but I just have to say this because it's like I just didn't understand it. Like okay, she's pretty.
She's hot.
Okay, she's hot, but like there's a lot of hot girls. There's been a lot of hot girls. The way it's like everyone is literally shoving each other out of the way. If we compare this to, for example, Andrea Slade, who like was from somewhere cooler than Boston, had an actual personality that you could distinguish, and like was from New York and had amazing fashion. Jessica couldn't give a shit. So like this girl that Jessica just likes because she's pretty and nice. I'm just like, okay. And they're all literally like fighting each other to get like 10 minutes with this girl. No, I'm not saying like, I don't want, just give me a second. Cause this is not what I'm staking my whole like feeling about this book on right now. Like I can get on board with that. Fine. Like I did get on board with that. Cause that's the beginning of the book. I'm like, okay, she's obviously compelling, pretty nice. Everyone's interested in her. Great. I look forward to getting to know her more. Fine. But nothing made sense. Like the stuff that's important does make sense. Like the actual like racial identity stuff, I think there's a lot of nuance and different aspects of it that have maybe not been seen before. For example, the parents modeling some of this or like being okay with it to some degree in terms of her assimilation and the complexities around assimilation and all of that is really handled with so much nuance, like almost in the same ways Miss Teen Sweet Valley, where you're seeing like really complex, like, oh yeah, there's different ways to be feminist. It's like, oh yeah, there's different ways to navigate racial identity. And like, you don't necessarily have to be blamed or like seen as bad for doing things to try to pass for your own safety, advance, like whatever. That's interesting. But like then like random things of how the story moves along, I'm just like, what? Like this isn't the point when that person would make that decision. So it's like this entire time she's been obsessed with sublimating her Mexican identity. Then we're getting this really gradual thing of like she's seeing these beautiful aspects of her grandmother that's making her take pride in her. And she's actually like starting to appreciate all the beautiful things about her, whatever. And it's like, great, great, great. But then it's just a random moment where she's like, yeah, I'm not going to lie anymore. I'm going to tell everyone I'm Mexican. I get that it's like developmentally appropriate. We're making statements, etc. But like, I don't know. We can look at it in the text. It just didn't make sense to me. But then the last thing that really didn't make sense was that you're like, okay, they cue the grandmother from page 3. It's like, oh, her Mexican Nana in the photo. I'm like, okay, well, we know we're getting a surprise visit from Mexican Nana who's going to blow up her whole spot, obviously.
Pascal's Nana.
The only thing I didn't predict, Robert, was that when I saw the word picnic, I thought, oh, she's bringing Mexican food. And it's all gonna end with her cooking. The picnic's gonna be a potluck or something. It's an opportunity for her to like showcase her culture and like be proud and whatever it is. Anyhow, so I was like, okay, that didn't happen. But you're like, okay, obviously Nana's gonna blow up her spot. So Nana comes to visit, she's doing all this stuff to like not get the girls to see her. But then the way it gets exposed is she like has this party at her house and she finds a way to get Nana out the door to like go to this concert of this Mexican singer. And the parents take the Nana to the concert or whatever, and you're like, okay, obviously they're gonna like Nana get sick or something, or like the car breaks down, like something's gonna happen where they have to come home. But the way that they get Nana to come home is that she comes home to tell the girl that she baked her a cake, and it's like the parents wanted to call on the phone, like she said you had to do it in person, and then it does end up becoming like a meaningful cake. But I'm just like, that's crazy. why couldn't they make a normal reason for Nana to come home? Just like nothing made sense. There could have been a million reasons why Nana would have to come home early. I'm just like, this book is weird. Okay, I'm actually so tired. I didn't sleep last night. Maybe I should mute myself.
No. Well, thank you so much for sharing how you feel about the book.
Did any of it make any sense? No.
I mean, what does it mean to make sense? And whose job is it to make sense versus to sense make? You know what I mean? So maybe we're just kind of putting it out there and letting people take what resonates.
And it's like, what is the meaning of is, you know?
Oh, God, don't get me started. Or start me.
Should we explain it to the Gen Zs listening to our podcast? Just kidding. I would never do that.
Are you looking for any kind of feedback or insight from someone else, or should we move on to your next monologue?
Okay, yeah, respond.
Okay, so I do like this has become a kind of a point counterpoint about the novel. So your first kind of central.
You know what? What I was gonna say made sense until I started talking, and that's the problem. It all made sense in my head, but as soon as I started talking, I like kind of lost the plot. But I had to figure out what I was trying to say.
No, we all witnessed that. So your first kind of, is complaint too strong a word? Your first issue with the text is how everyone wants to be.
Observation.
But that seems neutral, and it feels like you weren't necessarily. Okay. Your first observation.
I was neutral. It was bad.
Okay, that's true. You're an impartial observer of something.
I'm actually an anthropologist, and anthropologists are neutral because they're white, and that's what being neutral is. To not have race is to be white.
That's beautiful. And to be neutral, and to be anthro. Did I ever tell you, I can't believe I haven't said this before. So right after college, my terrible boyfriend, who is terrible and was terrible, used to say this joke, like to anytime he met new people and they would like ask, what do you do for work? And he would say,
what?
I'm a calcium anthropologist.
What?
I study milkmen.
What?
Isn't that terrible?
But
and it took me like literal years to get the joke in the first place.
I don't know that I do get it.
Well, so like anthropology is a study of man, and calcium is standing in for milk. So calcium anthropologist is like, I study milkmen.
Yeah, I get that.
Then you get the joke.
But milkmen meaning like from the older days when they used to come around with a thing with milk?
I
Like
mean, I didn't
milkmen from
ask
the
any.
old.
I assume so. Yeah, there's no. Yeah.
But is there a. Okay, for the naive listener who sort of needs you to connect the dots, like, what is the joke? If you had to explain what the joke was, what makes this a joke? It's
Well, the joke is that a calcium anthropologist doesn't exist,
okay.
and that it's playing on kind of like the root of anthropologist and borrowing the kind of anthro and divorcing it from the pologist and smushing it onto calcium to make it milkman.
But why is that playing on, like, it's just taking the word anthropologist? Like, I don't see how it was slicing and dicing it, like you just said.
Well, calcium. The calcium is the milk part.
Right? But you could say that with anything. You could be like, I study frogs, I'm a frog anthropologist. What's the joke?
Because calcium is just milk.
Right?
And anthro is man.
Oh my God.
So milkman. And then pology being the study of. So
I think my brain is, either it's a really bad joke,
yes.
or I'm having some sort of neurological event.
Also, yes.
Okay.
But so, like, for example, if I were like, oh, I'm a fish anthropologist, I study mermen.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same structure. Is that doing anything for you? Is that moving the needle at all?
Right, but the specific of milk and calcium piece is there a reason for that instead of
I
like
think it's people just associate calcium and milk together.
okay. So is it about like friggin' guzzling cum or something?
Yeah, no, I did worry that you kept trying to be like, you're like milkman in olden days or milking.
No, 'cause I'm literally just like, why are we talking about milk?
Well, so I would wonder if some people would find it homophobic that you immediately just as like hypersexualize gay men. I would
No,
wonder.
because I'm literally trying to understand what the joke is. Is it sexual? He said he studies men.
But the fact, of course, but the fact that you jump to guzzling ejaculate.
No, it's not that I'm jumping to it. It's that I'm trying to make sense of what would make this be a joke. I'm literally trying to say, if the joke is that it's a horny or I'm attracted to men and I'm saying I study them, haha. Okay. Then I'm still trying to say, where's the joke?
Okay.
Right.
So you're in order unavailable to be called in. Is that what I'm hearing? You're not welcoming a call in at this time.
Correct.
Great. Okay, then let's keep moving. Now,
No, because you know what, Robert?
No.
I'm very much not trying to be thinking about cum guzzling always about being gay, because if being gay is actually not even about that.
Okay.
And you could be gay and not have to even that ever be a part of your life, and you could have that be a part of your life and not even be gay. In fact, a lot of straight people love to guzzle cum.
Okay. Beautiful.
So I only said it because it actually was relevant, and I would go in front of a court of law and say that.
Well, good. I'm glad you're prepared.
When I presented all my evidence, I don't think a jury in the world would convict me.
We're going to find out. So get your pantsuit on or whatever it is that you're going to be wearing.
That's homophobic.
That is. Do you want to hear what I think at all?
Yes. I actually do.
So the first thing you're like, for a change, you're not going to believe this? So your first contention was that it's strange that everyone is all over Rosa, which I personally think is a confluence of being gorgeous, being new, and it being PBA pledge season. And I think the narrative has certain affordances that allow that kind of fawning over or excitement about Rosa to actually feel very natural to some of us.
Yeah, we can feel different ways about stuff, and that's fine.
Okay. That's beautiful. And then the cake thing didn't bother me at all because it was such a special moment for Grandma that I think it would make sense for her to come back to really talk about the cake.
Just put yourself in her shoes, Robert. You are
Grandma's
literally
shoes?
You are obsessed with going to see this artist. He's like your favorite musician of your entire life, and like you're getting this amazing once in a lifetime thing, and you're like, what, an hour, 2 hours driving, and you are like, oh, I forgot to tell her there's a cake in the fridge. She and her friends should eat it. It says something on it, like I love you in Spanish, and you're my Mexican granddaughter or whatever. And they're like, okay, well, here, you could just call her, tell her. She's like, turn the car around. because then she has to go back and then go back again.
Yeah, the
And she
back
was
and the
so
back.
worried about being late to the concert. Like that.
Yeah.
That just took me out of it.
Well, what's interesting is I have not been kind of empowered to share my 6-word review yet. And our recent discussion makes me feel like my 6-word review probably isn't great.
No, the whole point of your 6-word review is it's top of the dome. Like it can't be great or not great. It's like getting a random tattoo when you're drunk. It's a snapshot of a moment.
Okay.
It can never be bad.
Grandmas make me cry and are right.
Yeah. Are right, like in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really love that. And Nana in this book is, I mean, she's a gem.
Yeah. Top notch. A
Yeah,
delight.
top notch. She really is.
So shall we kind of quickly summarize this book?
Sure. I mean, we've kind of alluded to a lot of it.
Yeah, that's true. So Rosa is new in town. She's moving from Texas. And we learn very, very, very early on that she is trying to shed her Chicana or Mexican American identity and to blend in as a white girl. And she passes as white in Sweet Valley. She tells everyone that she's moving from Boston. And it's very exciting because it's PBA pledge season, which is, of course, the sorority on our high school's campus that Jessica is president of, and that basically every named character that we know is in. And Rosa is first very excited because she's like, this means I've made it. This is so great. And then she realizes that the pledge season or the rush season of PBA will bring heightened scrutiny. And so she lies about her heritage and says that she's from Boston, and that her family came over from the Mayflower and has been there forever, and they just moved to California. And it's
she's related to the Queen of England.
Yeah, and then she goes to the Queen of England. She's met Fergie and Di. She's been in their box for the ascot or something. And so you think that it's going to fall apart there because these are such wildly outlandish lies. And it doesn't. So there's all sorts of different stuff, and the girls make a surprise appearance at Rosa's house, and she's super nervous, but she ends up like hiding some of her photos, of course, the incriminating photo of Mexican Nana, etc. And it actually goes pretty well, and she thinks it's going to be fine. But then Nana comes to visit for 2 weeks, and so she has to basically divorce herself from PBA and from all of the girls because they'll want to come over, they'll want to spend time, and they'll see Mexican Nana. Her pledge tasks are way easier than everyone else's. Her third pledge task is throwing a party at her house. She throws that party at the house because she has Nana go to, of course, the aforementioned music concert. Nana comes back because of the aforementioned cake. And you said it all comes out, but I'm trying to remember what happens because Rosa throws the cake away, says Nana is her housekeeper. And I think she gets away with it. Doesn't she come out?
And that's why I'm like, it was random because she just like looks at the cake and is like, I'm Mexican or something. Maybe that isn't what happens. I don't remember.
So she reckons with this idea that she is having to hide parts of herself in order to fit in, and she decides that she doesn't.
No. It's because there's a girl who falls in a well.
Oh my god, I forgot about Baby Jessica! That was gonna be in my 6-word summary.
Me too.
Fuck.
This book is so weird.
I love how it was like, there's no chemistry plot. This book is just exactly what you'd expect. We forgot about fucking Baby Jessica in the well.
No, because that also was like, we've seen that so many times. Like, again, it's like, cue the kid. You're like, okay, well, she's going to, I thought it was going to be drowning. Or no, I thought it was going to be she was lost and she could only communicate with her to find their parents, whatever. It's like.
Which basically is what it was. But
God.
They're at the picnic. She has passed all sorts of tests. And then there is a small child down on a well. And the child doesn't speak English. And so Rosa has to calm her in Spanish, and everyone's like, oh, you speak Spanish? And she's like, yeah, I'm Mexican, I need to go. And so she rushes home in tears. The PBA girls rush home with her. They say, we still love you, we want you to be in PBA, it'll be great. And she's like, no, I'm not going to join PBA, I'm not going to do this, but we'll all be cool. I think that's it. I can't believe we got baby Jessica in the well. Her name is not Jessica, obviously, but she does go down a well. I
This
wanted
was
to.
after Baby Jessica, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I'll just go on baby Jessica's Wikipedia page. This has to be after baby Jessica.
If they're like ripped from the headlines, guys, people are really into babies in wells.
Yeah, baby Jessica was 87.
Okay. So I guess they were still thinking about wells in 1990 or whatever this is. So your plot thing reminded me of another thing where I was like, this doesn't make sense.
Thank you.
Which was, I just felt like her Boston lie was so unnecessary. It's
I
like,
agree.
oh, so if you tell people you came from Texas, they're going to be like, oh, are you Mexican? Like, you must be Mexican. Like, you know what it was? It just didn't feel like this was how this would go. Like, it didn't feel like she would, although I guess we talked about this in another book where I said, I don't feel like someone would fake their whole identity. And you were like, actually, people do sometimes have to fake their identities actually all the time and like have different names and stuff. And I was
And I'm
like,
doing it
okay,
now.
fine, you're right. Just,
Yeah.
I'm not saying those people are cum guzzling, but
But aren't you saying that? Or aren't you cum guzzling?
I don't know. I just felt like the Boston thing was, I don't think like if you're white passing and whatever, like that these people are going to be like, wait a minute, but you're from Texas? It also wasn't that much explained. And I think part of this is interesting and could be like intentional ambiguity, but like the nature of her perception of the racism in Sweet Valley and compared to her experience in Texas, the Texas thing was really vague. It just said like in Texas, she learned that when you're Mexican, you're basically othered and all lumped together and those kids are only friends with each other or whatever. And it's like, interesting. So how does that compare to Sweet Valley? Because we've heard from someone else that all the Mexican kids sit together in Sweet Valley. Like that was actually mentioned before as being about here. And like, for example, is everyone in PBA white? What made her think they would reject her from the part of it we see is like casual racist comments and things like this. But I also just wanted a little more information of what was going into this for her in terms of like what she was perceiving and actually experiencing and the contrast apparently between here and Texas. Because I just didn't get the Boston lie. And one other thing, I don't know if you actually mentioned.
Okay.
She tells him to call her Rose. I don't think you actually said that. It's actually a key piece of the story. So thanks for making eyebrows at me.
I wasn't making eyebrows at you. I had raised my hand several
And
times.
I'll never speak again.
That would honestly be a dream. So here I dream. So one of the things that I have wanted to talk about for the last 40-ish minutes was around the way that she intuits and feels the pressure to lie. And I actually thought it was really interesting. Like I think you're absolutely right. It is wild to think that if you are a beautiful, rich, white passing 16-year-old girl and you say, I'm from Texas, people are going to be like, you're Mexican, get out of here. And I think it's kind of an interesting insight into her own psyche and what she kind of anticipates. And one of the kind of key facets of the minority stress model, which is really around queer and trans, it was originally on just white gay men, but it's been expanded to talk about like how we better understand minoritized people's experiences in the world, is this idea of like anticipated bigotry, or the idea that part of the stress of being minoritized in American culture is that you're always already anticipating that someone else is going to reject you. And so this like heightened rejection sensitivity, I think, is really interesting. The other thing I thought was interesting that you were talking about was the Boston lie and how like just the start of the Boston lie, like her all of her family came over on the Mayflower and all of this stuff and like is beyond the pale, just like a wild thing. And then she starts talking about tracing her lineage back to England and being distantly related to the Queen and all this stuff. And I was asking myself, like, why is this such a ridiculous lie? What's going on here? And the story I was telling myself, for the insight I was trying to bring, was this idea that she is capitalizing on these white girls' desire to believe anything. And these white girls' kind of lack of critical awareness and critical thinking skills. And they're so desperate to believe these things that they'll take on whatever like egregious, beyond the pale, totally unrealistic lie there is. And so I didn't see it as a whole as much as I saw it as something like kind of interesting that she's anticipating this rejection, some of which she sees and some of which she doesn't see. And and her audience is heightened in their desire to accept even the most ridiculous of stories. I thought it was interesting.
That makes a lot of sense. And it makes me think like, yeah, maybe it is more realistic than I thought, because it's kind of like when we've talked about like being gay and making up a fake girlfriend and like, yeah, here's her name. And like, her name's like Onomatopoeia or whatever. By weaving the weaving of the tale, the artfulness of that and the skillfulness of that, it could almost be seen as like a way of, like you said, it's a way of kind of, I don't know, exploiting or leveraging their cluelessness and foolishness. In a way, it's also like an opportunity to perform competence. It's a way to, yeah, like meet that head to head and say like, okay, I'll play your game and I'll even like play it better than you can. And I think it's also a way, in this case, for Rosa to, like, part of the reason she's able to do this is because she has access because of her fluency in like the class signifiers. So she's able to draw on that from her class status to like make up for the fact that there might be something in Spanish at her house or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's something in Spanish at her house is an interesting kind of reference that you make, because her house is decorated in what is described basically as like a very typical Mexican way. And she's very skillfully, and everyone is totally into like, oh, that's just like trendy right now. And it just makes sense to be. And like, so she's like playing into their own exoticization and fetishization or whatever of the culture that she's pretending she's not a part of. Like, it's totally cool if you're a rich white person and you've collected these things from New Mexico. It is way less cool if you are a still rich, still hot Mexican American or Chicana person who has these things. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I loved those scenes. Like, that was so well done. And it is really interesting. And it is so wild that it's like, yeah, it's okay to be like participating in aspects of Mexican culture if you're white and appropriating it.
Exactly.
And like the way that that's not okay is if it is your actual culture.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh God, thank God you're white, because that's really cool that you're doing all this stuff. Like, it's similar to, if I'm being completely honest, all of the like cachet and capital I take from the fact that I speak some Spanish because I'm white, whereas like when you're Hispanic and speaking Spanish, oftentimes white people do not give you any capital for it at all.
Yeah, and you do have a lot of cachet for this. It's one of the biggest things you have cachet for, because what Robert has cachet for magazine is, and people are usually saying, you know, that Robert is speaking some Spanish.
I have my doctor is calling. One moment.
Robert's doctor's calling. Okay. Robert, we have your diagnosis. You have butthole. You have buttholeitis. It's terminal. That doesn't mean you're dying from it. It means your toilet's going to be broken and you'll never be able to fix it. And that's all, period. You really should stop having so many yogurt bowls. Not to blame the victim. Oh, my IKEA order's here. Hold on.
I'd like to formally apologize for muting my side of that conversation, because I think you really would have found it rich and interesting.
Well, while you did that, I had to sort of improvise. So I just did I said what I thought was happening.
It was just that I have an upcoming doctor's appointment that has to be canceled, unfortunately. Oh, wait, can I sorry, I have one thing that I've been like waiting for a big reveal. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I assign a This American Life podcast to my students. One of the chapters is called The Mimis, and it's this author talking about his younger sisters, and they're living in Texas, and they are Chicanx, Mexican American, and his two younger daughters, or sorry, sisters. Sorry, geez, Robert. His two sisters. Actually, there's older sisters. His two older sisters decide to call each other Mimi and act like they're white, and they bleach their hair blonde and they pretend not to speak Spanish, and like they do this whole like thing, kind of Rosa coded.
Yeah.
That's all.
The B plot is, you might remember that Jessica has a great new boyfriend, Sam. In this book, we're seeing that Jessica's kind of spending a lot of time with Sam, and she's kind of like neglecting her increasingly urgent math. Do you have a different B plot?
No, I mean, I love that. This is one of the richnesses of the book. I'm realizing that my B plot all along was like either an A minus plot or a C plot.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking the boys' frat and the pledge war between
Sorry,
the
yeah,
boys' frat.
that too.
But I love this. I love how rich this dynamic tapestry of conversation
Honestly,
is going.
that's B because there's more text devoted to it. There's more pages on
This
that.
is
Like that's
not a competition. This is not
okay,
a pageant
well,
for who's
whatever.
A, who's B, who's C. This is just a time for us to share what little we remember from this book.
I did read this today. Jessica's spending a lot of time with Sam, and she's continues to neglect her increasingly urgent math grade. And you could kind of think, oh, it's a typical like whatever story, but I think it's kind of deep because what's going on here is like it reveals that with dating Sam, it's like getting more serious and she's getting more feelings with him and she's starting to feel like a little bit vulnerable. And because of that vulnerability, she's starting to feel insecure, like, oh, if I don't spend as much time with him, he has hot friends that are girls and maybe he's not whatever it is. And like she keeps like doing the boiler room, my so-called life thing of like the thing Ken did with his English paper, being like, I'm gonna study, I'm gonna prepare for the quiz or whatever, and then keep doing like self-betrayal in order to try to like make sure that he continues to like stay with her or whatever. And she basically just like does this through the end, and then Alice finds out about it and grounds her and she can't go to the big party at the end. And I don't think it gets resolved. I think because it ends with Jessica being stressed out or whatever. Like I don't think her and Sam have a big talk of everything's great or anything, do they?
No, because of course
What?
she's going to get kidnapped by the cult. They can't resolve it because there's all this tension. It's like, oh my God, is she going to get kidnapped by a cult?
Right.
And then the cliffhanger's like, yeah, she is going to get kidnapped and it's going to be by a cult.
Right. So we don't get the resolution of like this issue, but I did think it was pretty interesting. And I thought it was kind of a nice parallel to maybe why I saw this as the B plot, because I felt like the A plot is about Rosa's self-betrayal and the B plot is about Jessica's self-betrayal. And like what they're both hopefully learning, what Rosa learns in this book and what Jessica's hopefully going to learn is that you shouldn't need to betray or sacrifice your own like well-being or identity or things that are important in your life to be accepted by other people or to like be loved by other people. That's a sign that something's wrong, you know?
That's interesting. I had not had any of those thoughts. So thank you for sharing them with me.
Thank you. And then the other one, you want to do this?
Well, I'm doing extra plots?
I could do it quick. That's funny.
Quick.
You pervert. You pervert. And then you say I'm the pervert.
I mean, yeah, I do say
Just
that.
because all I do is guzzle cum day and night.
I don't think that's perverted. I think that's fine. I think the fact that you talk about it constantly and you assume other people are doing it constantly and you assume that's the only way a joke could be funny or even have merit as a joke.
It's not even the way a joke could be funny. It's the way something could be construed as a joke, and that's just linguistics.
Yeah, that's just.
We're literally going to diagram it later and put it in the works I did.
Don't threaten me with a terrible,
I don't want any
time.
comments for the peanut gallery on how I eat my fruit all along, because this is America and I get to choose that even though I can't get an abortion. Okay, the other plot is that there's, maybe you don't remember this, but there's like a fraternity also at Sweet Valley High, and it's called Phi Epsilon. What?
So have we heard about this fraternity before?
I had thought it was casually mentioned. Because wasn't it when Ronnie, there was like someone beat someone up outside at the fraternity meeting? But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
It sounds like it could be. I just was surprised.
If we did, nothing significant happened. This is what's important. Apparently there's this fraternity, but it's been like laying dormant sort of, or like hasn't been that active. And part of it is because the guys that we think are cool and nice, like Todd and Winston, who are part of it, are turned off by Bruce, has been apparently like a domineering force in it. And it sounds like has like recruited some guys that are kind of pricks, like Ronnie, Edwards, and whoever else, right? And so, but Todd gets all like, I don't know, inspired by Pi Beta season or whatever to be like, let us revitalize this wonderful institution and let's have a pledge. And he like basically challenges Bruce in this kind of aggressive way where it starts out where he's like supposedly critiquing Bruce's kind of fascistic and elitist approach. But as Elizabeth observes, it becomes more about a battle between their egos than about actually doing what's fair and nice, because they end up both pledging these guys and they do like challenges for each other's recruits and they're just both dicks about it. And it's like, Elizabeth's like, you're being annoying.
And she's right.
And then, oh, this was another example of a way I was like, this doesn't make sense how this got resolved. The way that it ends is that Bruce and Todd are like, let's actually be on the same side instead of being against each other. And the way they come to that insight is because it turns out that the two guys that they had each recruited, who supposedly are like opposites or against each other, like had worked together to solve one of the prank challenges they had. And that's what makes them so inspired to be like, okay, we're not mad at each other anymore. I'm like, this is fucking stupid and dumb.
Okay. I didn't have that feeling.
Okay.
So
what did you have?
My feeling was just like, oh, I could see that like basically this whole thing was stupid and Todd was going to fold pretty early on because he was just, I mean, like, Bruce is always a dick, and so Bruce is not going to fold on being a dick, likely, but Todd isn't always a dick and is being a dick, and so he will likely fold. And so I think likely the way I saw it was just like, Todd saw, oh, the pledges can all work together because two of them are on the tennis team, Bruce's two, and their last task was to steal the tennis racket covers from the opposing team, which would have been impossible. And then two are on the basketball team, that's Todd's two, and their task was to steal the opposing cheerleaders' pom-poms, and that would be impossible. But they just did each other's tasks. And I think Todd actually was like, oh, wait, I'm being a dick. I should stop being a dick. Like, there's no need to be a dick. This is fine. And then Bruce is just kind of like, well, I still get what I want, so.
But the thing is, like, I think what this shows us is something's going on with, and I'm not being predictive. I don't think there's anything that I could think of. Maybe there is. I don't know. But like you said, like this is typical behavior for Bruce. But Todd this is about him from the beginning, right? Because the way he starts it is quite aggressive. If what he really cared about was like fairness and equity, he'd say, let's have a meeting with the group and let's talk about it with the guys. And I want to share some thoughts on how we can do this next pledging. Instead, what he does is publicly, in front of all their friends in the fucking cafeteria or whatever, be like, I'm going up against you, Bruce, and I just nominated these guys. And he's basically challenging him. So of course, Bruce is going to respond in kind. And Jessica says something like, yeah, it's really weird that Todd's like kind of continuing this. Obviously, Bruce isn't going to back down. Like, what does he think's going to happen? And I did like at least watching Liz call him out on it.
Me too.
But I do think it is kind of interesting that, yeah, there's obviously something spark with Todd, or that he feels like he needs to do this. And I don't know.
Keep watching. Watch the space. Maybe he joins a cult. Okay, let's do the taglines very, very quickly. Will Rosa,
You're on the right track.
Will the real Rosa please stand up? Is it just Rose/Rosa, like Victor Victoria? Will Pi Beta Alpha okay.
You were close when you first started.
What was my just
Will Rose
it's just like, will Rose fit into Sweet Valley?
Will Rose ever be proud to be Rosa?
That's good.
Did we ever say that the book we're doing is Sweet Valley High, number 81, Rosa's Lie? Okay, that's the book.
Absolutely didn't. And I was initially kind of annoyed that the book is called Rosa's Lie, and the cliffhanger and the beginning of this book both have Rose. But then it like Rosa comes out midway through the first chapter. I was like, Robert, come on, just keep reading the book, sweetheart. Is the back tagline a sorority battle? ...
You want a clue?
Oh, always. 100%.
It's a title of a previous book.
Power play ... Because this is kind of that. Wrong kind of girl ...
2 words.
Double love ... Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Let me tell you.
Family secrets ...
Yes. Amazing. amazing.
You know, I only guess it right once every 70 times, but it's worth it for the extra hour that we spend on this.
It's more than once every 70.
That's the highest compliment anyone has ever given me. Show me that cover. Oh, no,
Sorry.
nope. I'll look on my own. I can't. This is too much. Rosa's. Oh, we have Jessica and Elizabeth framing Rose or Rosa. Rosa is wearing a red and white halter dress.
Mhm.
Liz has her hair kind of pulled back with barrettes and is wearing a butter yellow button down tucked into jeans. And Jess has hair down and is wearing like a darker lilac and a lighter lavender kind of blazer and shirt tucked into jeans. The blazer obviously isn't tucked into jeans. Sorry for that confusion. And they're both kind of looking at Rosa with admiration. And Rosa is like looking out at us with confidence. And everybody looks great.
Yeah.
Rosa does look 40.
She looks a little bit like Selena in the face.
Yeah, I think she looks like Selena. I think she looks like Maria from West Side Story.
But I was going to say in the body West Side Story.
Oh, great!
Because it's the pose. It's so like it's like West Side Story pose or like ballroom dance posture pose. It's
Yeah.
very like
Wait, is that the end of
oh.
God, the wickedly talented Rebecca Pardo?
Okay, we have to do Reader of the Month.
Wait, but quickly, can we just say, and I don't mean anything by this, so maybe I shouldn't even say it. Does she look white passing to you?
I think she looks ethnically ambiguous,
Okay.
but she is white skinned, and I guess that's what they're talking about.
Okay. I'm ready when you are for Reader of the Month, and we've got to rumble because we've already been recording for over an hour and a half.
Okay, Reader of the Month is literally wants to kill me in my sleep, take my skin, wear it as a suit because their name is Becky Parch.
Wait, what?
And that sounds a little bit like Becky Pardo.
Wait, is it not you? Let's see a picture. Oh, that's not you. She's cute. She's not you. They're cute. They're not you.
And Becky Parch.
How do you spell Parch? P-A-R-T-C-H?
P-A-R-T-C-S-H.
Whoa.
And I'm going to share with you what she has to say. She's from California. This is a girl who found her way to a thesaurus, okay?
Ooh.
This is a girl who never met an adjective she didn't like, okay? Listen to this girl. As I curl up in front of the blue-gray wood stove on a chilly wood...
I guess I should just let you finish because it's all going to be like this.
Nope.
Blue-gray wood stove?
Blue-gray wood stove.
There's wood-stove?
Wood stove, no hyphen, one
okay.
Making it. On a chilly winter night, or lie on my bed under the ceiling fan on a hot, lazy day.
Ooh.
I drift over into another place. Already we're asking so many questions like wood stove. Blue-gray, I think, is coming from the influence of blue-green because they always talk about their blue-green eyes.
Absolutely.
But it's just the chilly winter night or she's building a world and setting a scene, but why is she giving us these two, like, am I picturing a chilly winter night or the hot, lazy day? Like,
both. Consider the extremes. She's reading either way. She loves the extremes.
Francine Pascal can take an ordinary situation and elaborate it into an intriguing novel. I almost think it's the reverse.
Ordinary situation elaborating. The reverse of that would be she takes
things that are crazy and makes them seem like they would happen to a high school.
Absolutely. I think that's really helpful. You should email Becky.
This is where it really started to become a struggle for me, Robert.
Oh, it hasn't yet been a struggle?
The print, this is where I said she's gone too far with the stories because I don't know where. The printed lines in her books provide a perfect mental picture of Sweet Valley and its inhabitants. I am transported into the California dream. I escape from my worries and pressures
Oh.
to Jessica. Yeah, I wonder what they are. To Jessica's exciting schemes and Elizabeth's continuous rescues of her sister and her drive to do better. Francine's books furnish me with dreams, and an attitude to do my best. And it's so important to be furnished with a good attitude, Robert.
Wait, sorry, they furnish her dreams or they furnish her
They furnish
attitude?
her. No, you're not listening, Robert. They furnish her with both dreams and an attitude to do my best.
Okay, she's furnished with dreams. The word furnish there is really sending me somewhere that I'm having a hard time diagramming this sentence.
Yeah, it's kind of bringing you back to the wood stove.
Sure, it's a both and.
Wood stove.
She's a proto-feminist. It's both and. It's a wood and a stove.
After finishing a book, I feel relaxed and
Lucky.
ready to tackle more obstacles in my life.
Wait, pause for a second. That means she does not record a podcast with her best friend who screams at her all the time whenever she has an opinion or eyebrows or whatever. Could you imagine finishing one of these books and being like, I'm relieved. I'm like, I finished this book and I'm like, oh, good. Now I can sit in a chair and be yelled at by my best friend for 3 hours.
Oh my God, you're complaining? You're
Yeah.
complaining? I used to read these for fun, Robert. This was my comfort. This was
Yeah.
my one comfort in this world, was reading these books and have it be the only thing that wasn't work.
No longer.
I feel
Mhm.
Francine's books
Mhm.
not only provide pleasurable leisure time,
It's supposed to pleasurable leisure time.
but also give me insights on how to live my life, period. And that's the end of that.
Great. Thanks, Becky. Both Beckys.
You're welcome.
Here's to both Beckys. Okay, well, we now need to kind of pick up the old pache, right?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, one question I had. So Jessica said, it's that time of year again. Time to get into gear if we want to make sure we get the pick of the pledges. Which made me wonder, are there multiple sororities at Sweet Valley High? And like there are, that we should start writing fanfic about like the other sororities that like girls, I guess whose names we don't even know, are in. Because they're worried about not getting the pick of the pledges. I haven't heard of another sorority. Who would we lose to?
Yeah, we raised this once before when they were like, PBA is one of the most exclusive sororities at Sweet Valley High.
That
We're
does
like,
sound right.
what? So yeah, they're not really mentioned.
I really like this at the end of chapter 1. Rose reflecting. She says, how must it feel? Well, actually, sorry. She could see the group relaxed and laughing on the lawn. How must it feel to be one of them, one of the most popular kids at Sweet Valley High? They probably don't even think about their status. They just take it for granted. It's simply who they are. I feel like this is a really useful, accessible way for kids and Robert to kind of start a conversation about privilege and status, and I thought this was really helpful to me. I was like, oh, I didn't even think about the fact that I'm just like gorgeous, so my life is better. You
I
know?
feel like you do think about that a lot.
That's kind of all I talk about. I once said completely seriously in therapy that one of my biggest fears is that my life has not been good because I'm gorgeous, but that I'm actually not as gorgeous as I think I am, and my life has just been good because I'm smart.
What did your therapist say?
I don't remember. I mean, it's like, what can you say to anything? We're in chapter 2.
Again, the way Lila's implicit and explicit racism just gets sort of dusted away or whatever. They're talking about that they have this tradition of interviewing the candidates to quote unquote like learn more about them or whatever, the pledges. And it's a little bit ambiguous. They never actually say what the requirements are in terms of like, what are they looking for? What are the qualities or whatever, right? It's just like, okay, so we're just getting to know them. And like, but some of the times where this comes up is like Lila says, it's very important. We go through the interview process and Rose has only been in town a couple of weeks. We really don't know much about her or her background in italics at all. Jessica rolled her eyes. Lila really was the ultimate snob. Don't worry, Lai. I'm sure Rose's background will be up to even your high standards. And it's like this question of like, what does it mean to be? At some point in the book, it says like there was exclusive and there was exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And
no italics used in my version, at least.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's also talked about for the fraternity But I think someone said something like, it's not like Todd just wants to let anyone in. He still wants to make sure it's like the best guys, but Bruce just only wants to let people in that are just like him. So it's like you can still be elitist, but you have to at least by 1990 allow technically for some amount of like diversity, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that comes up again, I think, in the end of this chapter when we get Rosa's interiority. And there's this great use of the word discriminating, where it's like she knew that the PBAs were very discriminating.
That's good.
And yeah.
Yes. So could we read that? The sentence itself is pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, keeping her background a secret, telling a few small fibs, and calling herself Rose instead of Rosa seemed to be working, especially with the Pi Betas. As friendly as the Pi Betas were, Rosa knew they were also very discriminating. She was sure they would never let a Mexican girl into their sorority. She was sure they wouldn't like Rosa nearly as much as they liked Rose. And there's this idea of like discriminating taste being like, Lila has discriminating taste, but also like Lila is an active racist in this book. And so I love that you pointed that out. It's very funny.
And them and all of them always using these vague, ambiguous language. It's like part of what's allowing the racism and stuff to exist, right? Because they don't actually force her to say it. And in the end, it's like, yeah, she will let a Mexican girl in, but she still wants to call her Rose.
There's an interesting, when Rose talks about going by Rose, or when Rosa talks about going by Rose, there's this interesting point where she says something like, well, it's America, and I can be anything I want in America. That's the whole point. And I was like, oh yeah, like you're good at using, like I know you said she doesn't have the kind of Andrea personality, but I think she has like an insight and a smarts. I would be her friend. Yeah, once I knew she was Mexican. I would not be her friend if I thought she was white. Just to be clear.
Again, the scenes where she's like picking up on the racism from the other girls. When Lucinda, Lila's...
well, because that happens at Lila's house, which I know it's always described this way.
Yes.
But staring at the white Spanish-style mansion that was Lila's home. I was like, yeah, I know that we always talk about everything as being Spanish style, but something about like white Spanish style really was like nicely done. And then, of course, I know you were worried when you started reading this because there are a lot of chaise longue.
Chopping vegetables? Here. What?
Chaise longue. There are a lot of chaise longue. Everybody is sitting on a chaise longue. It is wild. And I was like, that's shit, funny. I can't remember how I say that word. Keep going. Sorry, the Lucinda of it all.
Yeah, so Lila's maid, or Lila's...
housekeeper?
I don't know. Yeah, maid or whatever. Lila is very rude to her. She's basically Blair and Gossip Girl.
Yeah.
I mean, Blair was clearly modeled after Lila, but that's another conversation. Lucinda, I asked for seedless grapes. Get rid of these and bring some edible fruit, will you? And as you can see, we need more drinks. Rose watched as without a word and with lowered eyes, Lucinda took the fruit bowl and disappeared into the house. You shouldn't be so bossy, Kara chided her. She's the maid and I'm the employer, Lila told Kara. She's here to serve me. She's new and I'm just telling her how to do it right. But you don't have to be so rude and patronizing, Sandy pointed out, who has a Mexican boyfriend. Lila looked bored. I wasn't being rude and patronizing. You have to talk that way to her. She's Mexican and her English isn't very good. And then they all look at each other and shrug. It's that type of casual racism where, and you know, some of the girls are kind of making interventions or kind of calling it out, but ultimately they completely accept it. This is her attitude towards everyone and the types of questions she's asking in this interview. And she talks about like your family background and like your parents' business. She asks all these weird questions. Like you should need to ask a high school friend in order to like be their friend. It's like, no one has a problem with that. That's fucked.
I think that's fucked.
Then we get into the Mayflower, etc. And then we get the comment from Lila when Sandy leaves and she goes to Manuel. And Lila says to Amy, I don't know how she can date him. He's so ethnic and working class. Rose stiffened. Oh, please lie, Amy said. You're just jealous. You wish you were lucky enough to go out with a hunk like him. And again, it's like, yeah, they're sort of
Yeah.
scolding her, but it's so gentle. They make a joke out of it. They don't make it an actual problem, which is, yeah, just gross.
Yeah, I feel for everybody in this situation, especially Lila. But like I do feel like it is hard for them to know what to
Hmm.
do or what to say. And so there are these, you're right, like they are trying to they're trying to intervene. They don't really know what to
Hmm.
say. They don't really know they're they're conscious of the power differential between them and Lila. They're at Lila's house. Like Lila is rich and powerful. And so I do I mean I don't think Amy is doing that much negotiation because I don't think she's that bright. But like they're in this weird situation. I don't know how
Yeah, no,
much
it's
it's
uncomfortable.
fraught.
They're
It's
trying,
uncomfortable,
yeah, and they don't want to make a conflict and not be able to go to Lila's pool, etc. It's
etc.
just I'm just wondering when's the PBA reckoning going to happen? Because like there's
Mm,
been now a few times where people have been offered membership and declined it because of abusive treatment
sure.
or like discrimination. And then there also was in that survey in the Oracle, people responding and saying that it's
Yes.
elitist and stuff like that. And it's like there are all these signals that this is a broken institution. And, one is disappointed in Elizabeth, who deals with this by just like not showing up to meetings but still being a member and like not really like she's supposedly being like activisty now. I mean, like Liz, like
Yeah.
either quit this organization or do something. Like this
Yeah.
is not okay. So I'm hoping that conversation is going to happen soon.
Me too. One thing that I do find kind of interesting around the central kind of Rosa of it all is we get different examples of the way that Rosa's family has navigated things. So like Nana is Spanish speaking, Mexican, lives in Mexico, but comes to visit. Rosa's parents changed their last name to Jameson to fit in when they moved to Texas and started their company with the name Jameson so that it wouldn't be so legibly Mexican American or Chicano or what have you. Um, and it's just interesting because it does make sense that we would see Rosa having this level of identity navigation as she watches her parents kind of do similar stuff. And like if it's okay for them, I mean, they're literally they change their name, she's going to change her name. Like they're trying to hide parts of their identity. She's trying like so it does feel like developmentally appropriate and really interesting. And I think the book does that in a pretty nice way.
I think so too. It was actually, I felt sort of refreshing, especially given the time and
Mm-hmm.
like if we compare it to like Jade Wu, where it was this very
Mm,
stereotypical immigrant story of like tradition versus modernity or like uh, immigrant identity versus assimilation and these being zero sum things and like you could be one or the other. And it's like here we have her parents who changed their name for this very strategic reason, which is what allowed them to create this big success. He's self-made or whatever. And they are like, it's not, you kind of start from the cover and the thing being like, okay, so she's calling herself Rose, but she doesn't tell her parents, and they're going to be so disappointed. But no, that's not the story. Like they're
yeah.
fine with it, and they very explicitly say to Nana when Nana comes and is initially critical of some of the ways that Rosa's living or whatever. They say to Nana, we really think that it's every person's decision to decide what they're comfortable with of assimilation and what type of assimilation or not, and like that's up to her. And then I think the really interesting moment is when they're like, but she's still Mexican. She's still proud to be Mexican. That hasn't changed. And she's thinking like, but they don't know that that's not true or that's not how
Yeah.
I feel. And that's when you're like, okay, it's nice to see
Mm,
that be the thing that this book hinges on, to see where the parents are like very much engaging in we're seeing this very nuanced perspective and ability to tolerate a lot of complexity.
yeah.
And for them, what they're nailing it down, like for them, like the thing that really matters is you're still Mexican and whatever that looks like for you, we trust and we believe that like that's how you feel. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I loved that.
They're really open-minded, interesting parents.
And then I also love seeing like, for example, her dad, um, when Nana comes in and says her skirt is too short, her dad is like, well, we sent her to a school where they care more about what the kids think than what they wear or something. And I'm like, yes, can we bring that to 2025?
Yeah.
Like, yes.
No, we can't. No, no. That's too progressive for 2025.
Yeah. Okay, chapter 4.
I could skip.
I just have one question around like when they're doling out the pranks, the
Hmm.
challenge pranks, and it's like go to the guy's locker room and grab a dot dot dot. I can't take that.
Oh, I think it was just underwear.
I wanted to know if it was underwear or jockstrap and why they couldn't say the word underwear. I'm like, why can't they say the word underwear?
I don't know, because it makes it more.
Okay.
The other question I had about the pranks is like, so all the girls have pranks, but some of the girls like tasks are to take pictures. Like one girl has to give Chrome Dome the principal a toupee, and the other girl has to take a picture of that happening. It's like that doesn't seem like the same level of task.
Well, it's like on traders. Sometimes you're the one, calling out the codes, and sometimes you're the one pushing a ball up a hill.
That's exactly right. Onward and upward. Chapter
Food
5.
fight. I mean, I don't need to
Yeah.
say anything about chapter 6. She hides the photos of Nana. That was
Yeah.
brutal. It really was. The interesting scenes of sort of her pretending to be doing like cultural tourism and going up against Lila was so good. When Lila goes, I forget where exactly it is, but it's something like, "Oh, like coming from Boston, I would think you had a more colonial
Hmm.
style home." And she's like, "Well, of course in Boston, but here in Southern California, that style really doesn't translate or whatever."
And Lala's just like,
Um,
true. Jessica is throughout this Jessica's kind of framed as like betraying herself or irresponsible. But there are moments where it's like she goes, I mean, if you're always worrying about bad stuff that might happen tomorrow, you'll never have any fun today. And I was like, that's helpful to me, actually. I know that that's supposed to be a throwaway line and to show that she's kind of flippant or not serious, but like I am always worried about bad stuff tomorrow. Um,
yeah, for a while I was really on her side with the math thing because at the beginning when she's talking about I don't study for stuff, I just cram at the last minute or whatever, and it basically works for me. She still gets good grades. I'm like,
yeah,
great.
great.
Like everyone's talking shit about her. I'm like, that's a legitimate strategy, and it seems to be working for you
Yeah.
until it doesn't. But yeah, agree. Chapter 6, Nana is my secret past in the flesh and blood.
Oh, it's a beautiful line. Do we know about a pancake house? Actually, not a pancake house, but the pancake house?
I didn't clock it being mentioned here, but I actually do remember Pancake House from the time. Remember when Amy Sutton came
Oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. That was that the pancake house?
and she had black coffee and she was dressed like a hooker or
Yeah.
whatever?
We don't use that word that way, but
Sex
sure.
worker,
Thank you.
Robert. Oh, is that where the food guilt conversation happens? And I was just like, clock it, so sad. Just
No.
like one line.
No,
Oh,
that was just she missed brunch at the pancake house because she's hiding Nana.
okay. I'm talking about them when they're at Casey's in chapter 8.
Oh, I must have skipped all over that because I'm in chapter 10.
Well,
What's
it's just a
the
really quick thing, but like they're eating $1 million mocha, their favorite. They
Well,
love
it's
to eat
Lila's
$1
favorite.
mocha.
No one, other people don't have $1 million mocha. That is Lila's
Oh, you're
signature
right. Sorry, it
flavor.
was her last time, of course. Yeah. It goes, Kara says I shouldn't be, Kara says I shouldn't be eating this
Oh
as she
yeah.
digs into the hot fudge sundae. Nobody forced you to order it, Lila pointed out. Kara didn't really mean that, Jessica explained to Lila. It's just the kind of thing you have to say when you indulge. That's right, Amy confirmed. If you say I shouldn't be
Ugh.
eating this, it actually erases some of the calories. And again, Amy's doing this thing of making it into a joke, and then they end on that being a joke. And I'm like, how dark is it that
Yes.
like when you eat, in order for that to be considered like acceptable, you have to either feel or talk about feeling bad and that this is
Hmm.
like a something you should feel guilty for. All right.
We get at the end of chapter 9, all at once, Rose felt a new conviction. There was nothing in her background to be ashamed of. She was a Chicana, and if some people looked down on her because of that, it was their prejudice, their problem, not hers. By cutting herself off from her heritage, she was the one who would lose out in the end. But something else was clear to Rose. She could not go back in time and show Sweet Valley High the real Rosa Jameson, which just the real Rosa Jameson is interesting, right from the start. She had lied to the Pi Betas, and they would not take that lightly. When, if they found out the truth, they were bound to turn their backs on her. What was she going to do? Interesting.
Mhm. Something I clocked was like, as Rosa is spending more time with her grandmother, learning more about the family history and seeing all her skills and becoming more inspired by it and appreciating it. Rose watched her grandmother thoughtfully. She had expected to be bored and irritated by Nana again.
Oh yeah, I love
Instead,
this.
instead, Nana's stories had captivated her. Rose moved her chair back into the sun. She closed her eyes and let her mind wander to another time and another place. She saw a pretty young Mexican woman in a bright red dress, bringing lunch to a handsome farmhand, his black hair damp with sweat and his eyes sparkling, ... What I love about this is that it made me think when she was telling the Mayflower a lie,
Mm-hmm.
there was a line where she said something or where she had a thought that was like, wow, this is so much more romantic than my boring Mexican family or something. And the fact that she's now like, she leans back, closes her eyes, and sort of, it's like you think she's going to fall asleep or whatever, almost having this fantasy. She's picturing the story of her grandparents as a romance, and she's experiencing her own history as romantic. That felt very powerful. And it was something I hadn't thought about before. The idea of, I don't know, just having that perspective or that being something you can choose to have or a perspective that you can take. You know, I don't know. Okay.
We've talked about grandma comes back, cake, I love you in
Cleaning
Spanish,
lady.
trash.
She denied her own heritage. Liz says to Todd, and so are you. Okay. Chapter 12 in caps lock. Does anyone know Spanish?
We've got the
And
well.
Rose finally says, I'm Mexican. And this is a lot of interpolation. I mean, I think the big moment at the end, because what you didn't say in the plot summary,
Ooh.
you said in the end, they say, like, you can still be in PBA. And she says, I don't want to. What really happens is she says, I'm Mexican, explains the thing. They say you can still be in PBA. And she says, okay, goes to the ceremony. And then Lila calls her up as Rose.
Oh,
and
you're
then
right.
It felt important that at the end, it was Lila calling her Rose. And then her rejecting that hail seemed a very moment like counter interpolation or whatever. And then in the end, when she wears the red dress that her grandmother made her to the party, it's like she says, like, the red dress is going to transform me. It's going to finally allow me to be myself. Like, wow, I really am Rosa or whatever. Wonderful.
Yeah. I just love some of the like language you get. Being Chicana was not a liability, and right now it was a blessing. Because of her Mexican heritage, Rose possessed a power and a strength that none of her friends had. I was like, that's great.
It's cool to be different.
Yeah. And when the PBA girls are accepting her,
Yeah.
Rose is like, I can't tell you what this means to me. I was so afraid you wouldn't accept me if you knew. I should have known better. Don't worry, Rose, Lila assured her. We understand why you did what you did, and you can bet your secret is safe with us. No one else has to know you're Mexican. And it's just like, oh. And so that's the end of a page for me, and I was like, oh, fuck. When I flipped this page, because it could go, it's Schrodinger's page. Like, it could either be Rose
I
being
didn't think
like,
so.
thank you. I mean, I hoped not.
No, at this point, no way. She's been already.
We have seen so many. How dare you at this point, no way me, when we've seen so many people be like, I'm going to stand up for myself. Okay, I'll take you right back. That's fine. Like, how very dare you?
I feel like that's more in relationships, abusive relationships with men. I feel like it's not in a racial identity situation that they like.
Sure.
They always come around to the last second. Remember, Jade, we rejected the scholarship, et cetera, et cetera.
Everyone has to know. I'm not hiding my background anymore. And my real name is Rosa. From now on, I think that's what I'd like to be called. And Lila just keeps doing the same thing. But it's interesting. I mean, so this is not a one-to-one, but there is like a kind of coming outness of this.
Yeah.
Especially around the names that feels a little like, she says, I want to be called Rosa. And then Cara has a fine reaction, which is just Rosa, that's pretty. And then Lila says Rose is prettier, and we'll keep calling you that. Jessica says, Rose, Rosa, what difference does it make? Liz says, the point is, we like you for you. Amy goes, where you're from doesn't matter, Rose. What matters is that you're a great person. And this just to me felt so much like names and pronouns where trans people are sharing their true selves with people, and the other person's like, oh yeah, no, we love you, we'll definitely like do it, and then they just don't. Like, in the same conversation, they're all still just calling her Rose.
Yeah, like they're trying to be like colorblind or something. They're like, okay, well, it doesn't matter. And she's like, but I just told you it does matter,
Exactly.
which felt also realistic.
Hmm.
And that's what does feel so nuanced about this is like, even though they're saying what sort of feels like the right sentiments, what they're actually saying signals to her they don't accept her. They're not
Yes.
listening.
And then she's thinking, I've made it, I'm in. Rose dropped her head into her hands. She felt dizzy and precarious, as if she were poised over some kind of dividing line, standing with one foot in the United States and one foot in Mexico. She was free to choose, but she was also forced to choose. American or Mexican, Rose or Rosa, who am I going to be? I feel like there's stuff in here that is really lovable and really beautiful.
Yeah.
The only other kind of interesting name stuff is even after she says she wants to be called Rosa and they all say we're going to call you Rose. I think yeah, the narrator still calls her Rose throughout.
Oh yeah, I was wondering about that.
So the book calls her Rose
I thought it called her Rosa at the end.
at the very end as she's getting dressed for the picnic in her grandmother's dress. At the end of chapter 14, the book starts calling her Rosa. I thought that was interesting.
I feel like that's okay because she was like, the dress is gonna make me Rosa. The dress is gonna transform
Yeah.
me. She was like making that a ritual transformation moment.
I love it. It's not on me to say whether it's okay or not. I'm just noting it and celebrating
But
it.
you are a Mexican American young girl.
Well,
Wait, sorry, can I say one more thing so I don't forget it?
always.
It does behoove us to ask the question
I'll
about
be
the
hooped.
title. Like, what does Rosa's lie refer to, right?
Ooh.
Like, you could say it's the general sort of way she's presenting herself vis-a-vis her racial identity and her passing. You could say it's her name, Rosa. You could say it's Boston versus Texas, the existence of Mexican Nana. There are all these little moments that could be seen as like obfuscations or lies or not, whatever it is. But taken together, I think what it sort of raises as a question of like just this concept of, I don't know, racial honesty or something. Like, what does it mean to like be truthful about your racial identity as if it's something that is this innate, stable, enduring, unchanging, objective thing that you can either like say the truth or say a lie about? The word lie is so
Yeah.
definitive and strong for this book. It's like you would think this book would be called like Rosa's being stressed out about, are they going to be racist at her about being Mexican or not?
That's what I assumed the book would be titled.
Like Rosa's lie. It's like, so I think I don't think the book is suggesting this, but I think it's just a good question to interrogate. Like the word lie implies you can be truth. Like I'm not saying you should be Rachel Dolezal, but
Unless you want to be.
but yeah, it's because it sort of implies that she has like an obligation to certain things. You know what I mean? It sort of moralizes it in this way.
Yes.
That is a problem. But I guess maybe that is what the book's saying. I don't know. Whatever. Or not whatever. Okay, sorry, cliffhanger.
So all of this stuff, everybody's worried about Jessica.
She's pissed off about being grounded in her math situation.
Elizabeth looks in on her. I just wanted to see how you were doing, that's all. Well, take a good look. Jessica faced Elizabeth. Her expression, cold and detached, yet at the same time sad and desperate, was disturbing. I hope you're happy. This is what you wanted, isn't it? You got me in trouble, as usual. I didn't get you in trouble. I never get you in trouble. You get yourself in trouble. Ha ha ha! Of course, I forgot. You've never done anything remotely bad. You've never made a mistake. Well, I'll tell you something, Liz. I've made my last mistake, and that was letting people tell me what I can and cannot do. Everyone's against me. The school, my own family, everyone's trying to ruin my life by failing me and grounding me, trying to ruin my relationship with Sam. No one's against you, Jessica. Mom and Dad are just trying to help. Ha ha ha! Well, I don't need that kind of help. I'm just not going to take it anymore. Jessica turned her back on Elizabeth. Elizabeth stared at the defiant set of her twin's shoulders. Jessica had been in trouble before, and she'd often raved against what she saw as the injustice of being punished. But Elizabeth had never heard her sound quite so dejected, quite so lonely, quite so gay. as she did now.
Wait, what makes her sound gay?
Me, that I'm doing her voice. I'm a gay.
You're silly.
Elizabeth turned and left her sister alone in the room. When she got to her own room, she closed the door and leaned against it wearily. She was worried. And of course, this is all about her, Elizabeth. What exactly did Jessica mean when she said she wasn't going to take it anymore? How far will Jessica go to get the attention she needs? They said victim blamily. Find out in Sweet Valley High number 82, Kidnapped by the Cults. And listeners, just so you know, again, if you're doing this on the Kindle Unlimited, when you go to the next book, it is not going to take you to Kidnapped by the Cult. It is going to take you to number 91, In Love with the Prince.
No, so, weird.
Weirdo. So I encourage you to just kind of find Kidnapped by the Cult kind of yourself.
And I just want to say it's a great book. Really quick, on the last page of my book, there's an ad for the Sweet Valley Saga, but what makes me laugh so much is the way that the way the headline of it is. It's like 2 lines curved, but so you first read the first line and then the second line, and it says, well, I'll show you.
Okay.
The most exciting story ever. And then the second line is in Sweet Valley history. So funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
Because you're like, ever?
Well, it's Sweet Valley history.
So, if you are trying to pretend that you came from Boston and aren't Mexican.
Oh, wait. If you're trying to pretend to be from Boston, where do we go to school?
You should listen to our podcast because we went to college in Waltham, Massachusetts, and you can get a lot. And all we do on this podcast is talk about stuff that happened there.
Yep.
So you'll be able to have a lot of references. And
you could share this with your friends as kind of proof that you're like Bostonian, because you're like, oh, of course I'm from Boston. I listen to this podcast. You should listen to these 2 people scream about this book series. It's very Boston. So please share this with anybody who you want to prove anything to.
And rate and review. You've got to rate and review.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Thanks for listening to Sweet Valley Hive, hosted by Robert Marks and Rebecca Pardo. For more, check out our Instagram at Sweet Valley Hive. Theme song by Yessie and artwork by Elliot Carroll.